Hey money makers, welcome back to Over Here with Craft for Money. I'm DJ. In today's video, we are making coffee mugs, y'all. Not just any coffee mugs, but sellable coffee mugs using two different methods. In the video, method one, we're gonna do a permanent vinyl coffee mug that we're going to use our Cricut cutting machine to come up with, and a cute little image from Creative Fabrica. Y'all know that's my spot for inspiration. And then in method number two, we're going to make us a beautiful and vibrant coffee mug. One is for my brother-in-law, one is for my best friend. So let's jump into the video with the supplies. All right, for method one, we are going to be using a Cricut machine and a cutting mat. You're going to need a design of your choice. I'll share the one I'm using in a few moments. You'll need a pair of scissors. You're going to need some permanent vinyl. You'll see why that's important when we get into the video. You'll need a weeding tool and some transfer tape. I suggest rubbing alcohol in a paper towel to clean off your coffee mug. You're going to need a scraper or a brayer. You'll need a ceramic mug. In this case, I snatched up one from the Dollar Tree. And you're going to need a cup holder to stabilize the cup so that you can put the vinyl on. Once you get all of that, you'll be ready for the next step. So let's keep going. All right, so now we are in Creative Fabrica, and we're going to go ahead and find us our image for our cup. Now, this first one that we're going to do is going to be SVG. So we need an image that we are going to be able to make that is going to have a SVG option to it so that we can customize this, because we are making this first one for our brother-in-law. So I really do like the one that looks like this, but this would be so tough to weed because of the grunge look effect. But we love that, and we have saved that elsewhere because we are going to make something with that. We love that one to death. Now we can always get rid of the grunge of it and do exactly what this is showing. But again, I want to show you how you can just come over here, grab something, and take it right back on over there into Cricut and make it. This way you don't have to do anything extra if you don't want to. So what we're doing over here is looking for one that we can put on a nice little coffee mug for him, because we made one for my sister, for her and my dad to have coffee, but now we need to make one for my brother-in-law. And we are going to be using SVG for this. I did download this one already, and I think then it had the one in there that I really like. And so I'm really thinking that that's going to end up being the one that I go with. But I just wanted to be able to show you all a couple of different other ones before I settled in on that. Now, this would be a good one because we could weed that and reverse weed it. So then all we have to do is weed out the black, and then everything would stay behind. But I think that that one would take a little bit more time than I want. He only has one amazing daughter, which is my niece Milani. So it doesn't work with the ones with all of these dad hands on them. And so again, what we're looking for is a nice little SVG that we could use our different colors of. And I think we just found it, guys. Look at this one right here. So it is the one that I want because we can weed this most certainly. And then here is the legend, and I'm going to probably put his name there. So let's go ahead. First, what I always do when I find one I like, I go ahead and favorite it just in case I can't find it again. So now we're going to click download. We're going to go ahead and save that, and we're going to move that over into our file that we already have for Father's Day. And then we're going to go ahead and Look at that. I think I'd already brought it over here. See, because I was really liking that one anyway. This is the one we're going to do for my brother-in-law because it doesn't have that grunge look. So we definitely can bring it over in SVG because we're going to let our colors be from our vinyl that we're going to use. So we know that this is one that we're definitely going to do. We're here in Cricut Design Space, and we know that we are going to be doing a coffee mug, and this is a little trick that I like to do when I pull my images from Creative Fabrica and I'm working in Cricut and using vinyl. I like to start with some template that Cricut already has, and this is just simply for sizing. So I will click on projects over here on the left, come up to the search panel, and I will type in, as you see I did, coffee mug. It really doesn't matter which one I pick, but what I try to do is pick one that looks like it is going to be vinyl and not sublimation. So for example, I know that this is sublimation. This one is probably sublimation, but the cup doesn't look like mine. So again, I'm just going to grab this one because this one looks like it's going to work for me. So I look over here once it comes up and I can see it's a ceramic mug. It says a weeding tool that lets me know that it's vinyl, and I am going to edit a copy. The purpose of that is not because I'm going to make the mug, but what I like is that it gives me a good size for my 11-ounce mug. So if I click on it and let it highlight, it shows me that this design is a 4.77 by a 3.8, and we already saw it on the mock-up. So chances are we might have to make it slightly bigger, but more than likely not. So now this is going to be kind of our sizing guide. So the next thing we'll do is click on upload. We will click on upload image. We will click browse. And now we're going to take ourselves back over to our Father's Day folder that we created. Come out of these ones for summer. There's Father's Day. And I believe it was this one, but maybe not. We have to see. Let's bring over the SVG. We know we need an SVG because we've got a cut. It is our image. So we're going to go ahead and click continue. Once we have clicked continue, we're going to go ahead and bring it in under upload, and it's bringing it in for us. Now we know that we have the update to Cricut, and so it gives us some other options, which I like. These are cute, but I'm going to take advantage of my Creative Fabric image. And I also know that millions of people own Cricuts, and so they have access to Design Space. And so if I want to make sure that I'm keeping my stuff a little more unique, I'm going to go with Creative Fabrica. Now, don't get me wrong, I'm loving this one here, and I might edit and change that around for a future mug. So many times I wish my dad was still here. I would love to make all kinds of stuff for him. But it's quite okay. We're going to stay focused on what we're doing today. So for now, I'm just going to go ahead and click on images, and that'll remove that panel box from being open. The next thing that I'm going to do is minimize this a little bit on the screen so that I can work with it. Now we know that we're going to do vinyl with this. First thing I'm going to do is ungroup it. And you'll see over here on the right in the design panel, it shows me all the various layers that I have. Now, partially why I like this image, and I will make sure to link it in the comments of the description, is it already has some of the design already built in. So this is pretty cool to see this, right? The man, the myth, the legend is here at the bottom, but I think that's what we're going to change. So I'm going to go ahead and move this out of the way. And I think I'm going to shrink this just a little, right? And what I'm going to do with it is see how I can make it go inside of the A, because you notice the A doesn't have anything. So I'm going to turn it yellow just so that I can begin to see it. I'm going to right click on my mouse and I'm going to bring it to the front so I can see how much I need to shrink it down. I'm going to go ahead and get the legend here inside of the letter A. Do I wish that was just a little bit larger? I do. So I'm going to left click the mouse, stretch that down just a little bit. Now I'm going to come back out so I can see what that looks like. And I kind of like it. It's not as thick, right, as the other one, but that's okay because what I plan to do is I'm going to take that out of the A. I'm going to left click my mouse and I'm going to drag this down over the A and the word the legend. And I'm going to then come over here to the right side, lower right, and I'm going to click on splice. Once we see that blink, I should be able to grab the word, pull that down, grab the word again, and now I have created man, legend, and myth inside of the letters already there. Now I'm gonna drag the mouse over the two because we don't need this anymore. So I can go ahead and delete that. The next thing that I'm gonna do is I'm gonna go ahead and drag back over the entire image, and I am going to group this back together for now. All right, now that I have it the way that I want it, I have 4 colors of vinyl, different color blue permanent vinyls that we're going to use to make this. And I like the idea of making each one a different kind of shade of blue. So the first thing I'm going to do is click on the first letter D. And this is really for visual sake for myself. But I do this because I want to have an idea of what my cup is going to look like. I'm just going to play and use some of the colors here. So I'm going to turn that first one that color blue. And then I'm going to turn my second one a different shade of blue. I'm going to take my third one and I'm going to change that to a different shade of blue, just so that I can have some idea of what my cup is going to look like. So now I have these stars that I have to think about. And I definitely want to keep the stars. You're probably going to go ahead and make the stars both the same color. And let me show you how you do that. So you're going to click on the first one, hold down your shift key, and click on the second one, and that'll drag them together. That way, when you go in here and pick the next color that you want, they are all going to turn that color. You just got to remember what the Cricut machine needs to cut it at. So for this, I'm going to go ahead and make it the light blue. Now, mind you, every time I change these colors, that's going to be a different section on the mat, but we'll get to how we get to that. So don't worry just yet. Now we can group these all together so that they don't move around, right? We're going to add a little something to it, which in our case is his name. We're going to click on text, and it's going to bring me in a standard text box. And I'm just going to go ahead and bring this over here for right now. Now, first, I got to put the name. So his name is James, and we know we have that. But what we don't want is all this extra space. So we're going to ungroup it and then group it back together. So this way we get a true understanding of what the size is going to be. Now that we have that, we can see that's too big. So let's get that shrunk down and bring that right here. And actually I'm debating, do I think I want it across the top? So actually what I think I'm going to do, I think we're going to move this around because it sounds a little weird. The man, the legend, the myth, right? And so what I think that I want to do is I think I'm going to go back one more time. I think I'm going to ungroup it. And I think that what I'm going to do, because I want to line it up and save myself. So I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to duplicate this D. And I'm going to bring that one on this side. And I'm going to duplicate this one. And bring that one on this side. And then what I'm going to do is line them up really well together so that they are even. Okay. So we have centered them, and so it's the other one. All right, and then I'm going to come over here and I'm going to do the same thing. This is just saving me from having to try to line them up evenly together because I always struggle with that. So this way I'm able to hide the one hide the one that I don't need, and there we go. So now it's the myth, the legend, the man, and that actually sounds okay to me. So now I have his name. And so then if we put his name at the top, James, the myth, the legend, the man, I feel like that works out awesome. Much better. I'm liking that a whole lot. I want to stretch his name out because I want it to be even with that. So let's do this. We're going to need to get rid of these stars or decide if they're going to be a part of our design or not. And I don't know. I think I could probably move them over. They just look kind of weird waiting for something to be in the middle and then there's nothing there. So I don't know. Actually, I probably could do 3 of them and then duplicate that one. Bring that over. And then what I can do is highlight my 3 stars. I can come up to here, and we definitely want to align them to the bottom so they're all flat at the bottom. And then we absolutely want to distribute them horizontally so that they're even. And we can go ahead and stretch them so that they are each even and under the letter. And then to make sure we're even, we could do that. All right, so that looks pretty good. And actually what I think I will also do is I'm gonna go ahead and highlight all three, and I'm gonna make these the same color as the letter A, which I believe was that one. That way they can all cut on the same mat. So we've got, this is one blue, this is a different blue, these two are the same, so this would be our fourth blue. So I don't like how the name looks, so we're gonna go ahead in here and see if we can, oh, I see what we did too, because once we're gonna get rid of that. We're gonna start that part again, guys. Sorry about that. So we gotta go ahead and find our font that we like first. So the first thing we're gonna do is stretch out the name. We'll bring it up here, and actually let's highlight everything. Let's bring this down so we can actually see it. All right, so now let's try to find us, let's change the name from the basic word text, and that's fine. Right now we're just still designing, so it's okay. So now the next thing we have to do is we're going to go ahead and double click on it, and we're going to come over here to fonts, and we're going to find us a good font. Now this is like going down a rabbit hole, and we could be down here all day, and we are not about to be down here all day long. So the first thing that I'm probably going to do is, and I love how under featured fonts, once you know your word, it'll start to show you what your wording would look like. What will the word look like once I do it? And I kind of like that because it didn't used to do that. So this was another pretty decent upgrade that they did for us. So these are all of the Cricut fonts that are available only in Cricut that it is giving me an example of. If I go to system fonts, are only the fonts that I've downloaded from my computer and all of my Creative Fabrica fonts and things like that. So this is probably where I'm going to go, but I always seem to use some of the same fonts. So I'm going to go and look and see, what did I bookmark? Did I bookmark anything that I like what it looks like? So let's check out Arab brushstroke and see if I like how that looks. No, that's not too, I don't like that a lot. Let's see if I like this. No, I don't like that one either. This is my hard part. I always struggle. I actually like this one. It's thinking our green bar is going across. All right, I think I like that. I think I'm gonna go with this one because again, we'll be here all day making this video if I have my way. So the first thing I'm gonna do, since I know that's what we're gonna do, is I'm gonna ungroup it and then I'm gonna group it back together. That way I can get a true size. And this way when I stretch out the name, it doesn't have all that unused space that we won't be using. All right, so now we wanna go ahead and we wanna change the color of that just so that Cricut knows what we're doing. So I'm gonna go in here and I'm gonna click into the blues so I can find me another color blue. All right, and that's fine for the purposes of this. I just need Cricut to know that it's 4 different colored images that we're using. And actually could probably make his name and the stars the same color blue. So we'll do that. Go ahead and do that. All right, so we've got the name and the stars will be the same blue. The first D will be a blue, and this will be the next blue. So now that we have our image all together, and this is all grouped, we got to group the image and the stars. Well, we should group the image first. So that's together. Then we want to drag our mouse over James, and we're going to drag our mouse over the stars, hold down the Shift key, and then click James so that we can group those two together, because they're going to cut on the same mat. So that's awesome. And now what we want to make sure is that this is centered with this. So Shift key, click the next image, and then we're going to go over here. And then what we want to do is we want to center everything horizontally. That way we know we have perfect symmetry for our cup. This image is ready to be cut. These two are going to cut together, and then each of these will cut on their own. But now remember, we got to get our size together because we are not making a 9.56 by 10 inch image for the month. This is the time when we're going to go ahead and resize our image. So I'm going to highlight over this. And remember, this one told us 4 4.77 in width. So that's what we're going to put in first and see if we like that. So with our padlock on, we're going to type in 4.77 and hit enter. Now, when we do that, because remember, this is a bigger image than the one we had, it automatically proportioned this to 5.1. But when we look at the way a coffee mug is going to come in, we know that the height of the mug is not going to be as big as this one. So what we need to do is we need to make this one a 3.8 in height. All right, so now I have my cup. We're going to get rid of this because we don't need our sizer anymore. And now we're going to enlarge it so you guys can see. This is the image that we're about to send to our Cricut machine. Now we're going to save this because we haven't saved our image yet. So we're going to go ahead and we're going to save this as Grow Coffee Mug. Once that's saved, that's good to go. And now we're going to go ahead and click Make It. Once we click Make It, remember we've got 4 different blues. So it is going to set itself up on 4 different color mats. And that's fine. I've got my little notepad here with my pen so that I can take my notes and write down what I need to write down as far as sizing, because we're going to use another hack of putting all of these on one mat together so we don't have 4 different mats. Now, because we're using permanent vinyl, we will not need to mirror these images. We'll need to click the 3 dots, click Move Image, and then move it over to the mat. Use your paper and your pen to remember where you're going to lay them out at and which section will get which color. We're going to be using permanent vinyl here, and just in case you've never found that before, it's in Browse All Materials. Once I have my material selected, I'm going to tell it to cut. Now let's get the mat together. So we're going to use a standard grip green mat. I have my brayer and my scissors and my 4 colors of vinyl. So I'm going to show you the way that I avoid having 4 different mats when I cut projects like this. So I have my paper, I have my sizing wrote down on my paper for each of the letters, and I'm going to cut the first little section for the first letter of the image. Once I cut out that little piece, I'm going to trim it up. And because I know how large I need that one to be, I'm going to be able to cut it down to size and put that on the first part of the mat. Sometimes I'll cut it just a little bit over because I'd rather have too much than not enough. Bray it down and then cut away the extra on the side, because when I lay the second color, we don't want the blade to overcut both colors. All right, so we're going to go ahead and prep that with our little blade cutter. Sorry for the angle, it's a little weird, but go ahead and move that out the way, and now we'll be ready to peel that away and apply color number 2. Now, if you're doing this project and you're only using one color, you won't have to do this. But if you're going to replicate this project and use more than one color, this is the hack that'll save you a lot of time. Bray it down, cut away the extra, and then get ready to apply color number 3. Now, color number 3 is going to have a little overhang, but it doesn't matter because we're not putting another color behind it. Now, we do have to cut along the bottom because we did make those just a little bit too long. And again, I'd rather cut away than not have enough. And we'll save all of our little pieces for future projects. Now we're going to lay down that 4th color, but as you can see as I'm unrolling it, and again, I apologize for the view of this, but the vinyl has some crinkles in it, and ooh, that really frustrated me. So I have the middle that's nice and smooth, but if anybody has got a hack or a suggestion of what I can do to prevent the vinyl from crinkling up like that, maybe it's how I'm storing it. Please let me know down in the comments, because I cannot be the only one that runs into this. All right, so now that I have my middle section with less crinkle than the top and the bottom of that vinyl, it makes it a lot easier for me to use the brayer to get the small air pockets that are in that section out. And take your time and do this. That way you don't stretch or tear your vinyl. All right, so once I get that all braid down, all air bubbles are gone. We've got all 4 colors on the same mat. And now we're going to go over to the machine. Get the blade nice and smooth, and we're going to go ahead and tell it to cut. Give you guys a little bit closer view, and now we're going to see it cut. The reason I left this in, even though you probably have seen a Cricut cut a million times on a million videos, is there's a mistake. On that first blue that we laid down, it is coming up off of the mat. And I left that in because I want y'all to know that sometimes when you're in the midst of a project, mistakes will happen. It just does. And it happens to the best of us. But in a second, we're going to fix it and everything's going to be all right. All right, so we saw what happened at the cutter machine. I think the problem was the one for Myth actually was removable vinyl because that vinyl came off the carrier sheet way too easily, whereas the others did not. So what we need to do is we need to cut this again. But we only need to cut the first one. That's why I let it keep going, because I honestly wanted to see what would happen. If all the rest of them messed up, then I knew I had to cut the whole project again. But as you can see, we're able to salvage everything but that first one. So now we need to go ahead and just cut that one all over again. So we're going to go ahead and tell the machine that we're done, and we'll say done, and then we're going to send it back. But this time we're going to go ahead and we're going to hide that because we don't need that, and we're going to hide these two because we don't need that. We just need the first one to cut again. Back over to the cutting mat, and we're just going to cut this one again. So as we can see, we know we just need it to be up to the 2 and down to 2.5. We're not going to mirror it, and we're going to tell it to continue. It will reconnect to our Cricut machine, and then we'll cut out the letter, and then we'll go back over to the table, weed everything, and make this coffee mug. All right, so we are back at the Cricut machine. We've replaced the royal blue panel at the front of the mat, and we're going to go ahead and let that cut again, and then we'll take everything back to the table to weed it. And as we can see, it's cutting perfectly with no issues. It is not pulling up. So it is good to go. Look at that. So now we're going to go ahead and speed up this next part because you guys have seen weeding of vinyl before. The only advice I have is you want to take your time and you want to make sure that you're only weeding the portion that you need, because again, this is going to go directly on the mug without any mirroring. And so you just want to make sure that, like in the case of me, I've got little words inside of those letters, and that star is kind of tiny. So you don't want to just rip that vinyl up because you'll lose those little tiny pieces. So take your time and enjoy the weeding journey. Right, now that we have brayered the image down, we've layered our transfer tape. Now it's time to slowly pull the carrier sheet back, making sure that we do not pull up any of our small pieces. And now it is ready to be applied to the mug. So what are we going to do? Clean it off with that rubbing alcohol and that paper towel so that our permanent vinyl can cure and stick to our mug. I'm using my cup holder to balance it for me and hold it steady so that I can lay it down perfect. Now, I like to pinch the middle. Y'all know how I do a shirt, so of course I do the same thing to my cups. And then I'm going to position it even in front of me, bring y'all a little closer, and we're going to lay the middle of the image down in the center of the cup, just lightly tacking it down, and then work our way to the outside. So we're going to press down the middle over the M and then slowly go down towards the right, and then come back and do the other side. Now you can use a brayer for this, but I just use my hand. And now I'm going to just keep rubbing it, making sure that it's all stuck down. And then I'm going to slowly pull the transfer tape away and save it for another project. Take your time here. If you find your letters pulling up, don't panic. Just press it back down and then start again. Once you get it all away, you might have to bray out an air bubble or two until the vinyl cures. But once you've done that, you have got yourself a very cute and sellable ceramic mug. In this case, I'm not selling it. It's a custom gift for my really awesome brother-in-law, and I hope he likes it. What about you? You guys like it? I do. Now let's move on to method 2, which is going to be our sublimation mug. Let's talk supplies. All right, the supplies you're going to need for method 2 is a sublimation ceramic mug. You can't go snatch this one up at the Dollar Tree. You definitely will need a ceramic sublimation mug. A design of your choice. I'll show you the one that I'm using in a few moments. You will need a sublimation printer. You'll need sublimation paper, or scissors, or a paper cutter. You will need heat transfer tape. You're going to need some blowout paper. This can just be regular 8.5 by 11 copy paper. You are going to need some sort of a mug press, and I always have a weeding tool nearby, just because when the mug comes out of the press, it can be hot, and I just have a weeding tool to help assist with that. So those are the supplies that you're going to need for method number 2. Let's jump into the design. This one is going to be for my best friend. He is an amazing dad, and I definitely want to make him something and send it to him. But y'all know how I feel when I'm doing sublimation. I want the absolute most colorful one that I can find. So let's see if we can find something that is a fit for who he is, because there's lots of them out here, but we want to find one that really fits his personality. So let's see. Oh, this is nice. I think I downloaded this one. I like this one. See, it's got nice color. Dad is on there, best dad ever. So I think this is the one. So yep, let's add it to the favorite. And then let's go ahead and download this one. So now we have our image for method number 2. Let's go ahead and get this saved, and let's go ahead and move this over. We're coming into Father's Day, and I think I did it already too. Let's just make sure that's the same one. Yep, it is. So I'm going to show you what to do once you have it over inside of your files, because it's zipped and you can't use it like that. So let's go ahead and minimize that and go into our program. Let's go ahead and get into our Father's Day one. And this was the most recent one, so we're going to go ahead and extract that. and we're going to bring it right back where it's at. We just need to be able to unzip it so we can get to the items that are inside. And then just to keep my space nice and clean and I've extracted, I take the images and I put them in the archives. Now, if I ever need my archives, all of my files are there and I don't have to worry about losing them. Now, what's cool about this is it has 11 ounces, it has 15 ounces, it has it in this version, right, which is the PNG file, the one we're going to use, but then they also have it in a reverse in case you want to put this image on a different color mug, or if you're going to send this to a printer and have this turned into a DTF, UTF, I'm sorry, sticker for your mugs. But in our case, we're making him an 11-ounce mug, and so we're going to do the double-sided one that it's going to give us the layout for. So we already know that we have the one that we need. So now the next thing that we need to do is bring this over into the format by which we are going to print in. Now for me, I did show in a previous video how I go into Cricut Design Space to print out my images, but for the purposes of this video, we are going to be doing Adobe Illustrator, which is where I normally will print my items from. If you want to see more videos of me using Cricut Design Space for my printing, please let me know down in the comments, and I will do my best to, when I make future videos, to show you not only how I use Adobe Illustrator, but also how you can use Cricut Design Space if that is the designing platform that you are working with. So we'll let Adobe open. All right, so Adobe has thought about it, decided to open. We're going to click on File. We are going to click on New. All right, so as you can see, a lot of what comes up is different stuff that I've used Illustrator for. We're going to go ahead and make a new file because it's acting all the way up. All right, so first of all, we do inches. Secondly, it is a 9.5 by 4. All right, and we know that it's a coffee mug wrap, so it's going to come in here. We want to make sure it also is high DPI, and then the color effects is the CMYK. So I'm going to hit create, and then it's going to take me into my platform, and it's going to give me my image the way I need it. All right. So now the next thing that I need to do is bring the image in. So we click on place. That's going to take me over to my image, and I'm going to come back over here. We know that we were doing our 2025 Creative Fabrica download. It was our Father's Day. We have an 11-ounce mug. So we're going to bring that over here and we're going to click. Now, right now, we're going to minimize this down so you all can see this really good. And we know that we've got to size this right. So it'll lock in like I need it to. Then we want to come to properties. And we need this image to be 9.5 times 4. Now, all we have to do is highlight them both and we can hit center. Now, our image is exactly where it should be as it measures to our cups. I love my paper that I use for my coffee mugs, and it is inside the checked. Now, my 11-ounce mugs are your perfect size for this. So this is great. Now we want to make sure, I think that top is going to be a little close, but all right. So now we have our first one. So what we do is we're going to send this to the printer, and we've got to change everything because right now it's on the wrong printer. So I always change that. The next thing that I do is I come over here and I take the bleed off because I don't want it. Then I come down here to set it up because the document and my image are not the same. So we're going to come over here to the right printer. We're going to change it out to the one we worked for. And then we're going to go into more settings so we can get it proper. All right. So we know that it is our mugs. We know that it is our premium matte paper. We also know we want a preview of that. And then we want to come over here and we want to set this up properly too. We need to mirror this. And again, bidirectional printing, I don't mind taking that off. All right, so now I'm going to press print. Now what I always do here, because it doesn't auto fix it for me, is I go over here and I click done. and then I come back and click print, and it should have taken the changes that I told it to make. We're going to go ahead and send that over to the printer because now we're ready to print. It's all set up and ready to go. And so we hit print. It's going to give us our print preview, which is definitely what we need to see. Make sure everything is looking real good, and it is. All right, we've got all our supplies, and we're going to first clean our coffee mug. We're going to use our paper towel and our alcohol to make sure that we don't have any oil or anything on here that will create ghosting or prevent our beautiful sublimation from coming through. Once we do that, I use my cup holder to stabilize and then center my design. This is a full mug wrap. Again, this design is pinned in the comments in case you want to head over to Creative Fabrica and download it for yourself. And we're going to go ahead and tape our mug down. I don't mind doing a quick tutorial video on sublimation for you all. So if that's something you want, especially if you are in ceramic mug making season for yourself, this is a definite profitable um, item to sell, not just at pop-up shops, but on your website. So I love making mugs. They help me make some nice coin in my small business. So if you guys want a little bit more detail around sublimation, please let me know, and I'm happy to make a video for that. We're going to go ahead and tape the mug all the way around, and then we're going to use our 8.5 by 11 copy paper as our blowout paper. So let's just go ahead and get this mug ready for pressing. Now, I like to tape the top and the bottom. Some people might think that's over, doing it on the tape, but that's what I've been doing since I started my small business, and I have very few errors on my coffee mugs. Now, there's the 8.5 by 11 piece of paper. I fold it in half, and then I fold it again, and then I tear it, and now it is the perfect size to wrap across my mug. I do this so that, and really the paper that I use does not bleed through, but I'd rather be safe than sorry. Ceramic mugs definitely cost more than a Dollar Tree mug. So I try to minimize mistakes as much as possible because we know mistakes cost us money and we don't want anything chipping into our little profits, honey. So now once we have set that up, we're going to go ahead and get our tumbler press ready. This one can fit tumblers, ceramic mugs, and stainless steel tumblers, glass tumblers, and it can actually fit two 11-ounce mugs at the same time. I'm only doing one today though. So we're going to go ahead and adjust that, get it going, press it. And I did speed this part up, but this is timing down. It does beep for me. It'll blink until it's ready. And then once it has done its job, it will make a noise to let me know my cup is ready. Put on our safety gloves and then pull off our stuff. I'm frantic. I couldn't wait. I had to see it. Ooh, baby, that is cute. Look at it. He's gonna love it. All right, my final thoughts on this project is yeah, thumbs up. I love making coffee mugs. I know that there are some folks who will say that the market is pretty saturated, but I don't know that I agree with that because I can go in to my kitchen and look in my cabinet and I've got a variety of coffee mugs in there. So somebody buying them and it ain't just DJ. So what I would tell you is this. There are beautiful methods that you can use. I just showed you two of them. They don't always require you to spend more money to purchase the sublimation mug. I can go right here to the Dollar Tree and take that $1.25 mug and turn it into something absolutely gorgeous. that my brother-in-law is going to get a lot of use of, whether he drinks coffee or not. He's going to get a lot of use out of it, and it's a keepsake that he will always have. You can package this up by putting a person's favorite coffee inside. You might even put some adult something or something on the inside. Wrap it in some nice cellophane, put it with a nice bow, and you've got a really great presentation. Should you decide to sell these, you can definitely jazz these up with maybe a tie for dad or a pair of socks, right? Whatever that thing is that they like, that's what you can put in here, cellophane this out, and you can sell these. Now, the biggest question most people ask is, what do you charge? And I really, sometimes I hate to answer that question for you guys, because I really think it's going to require you to do some research on the market that you live in to determine what the market can bear. I know we're in a lot of craft groups and people are always asking, hey, I make this, but what would you charge? I would encourage you to do the research before you spend the money to make the various things, so that you can know what can your market bear. But I will always answer, or try to answer, the question for you guys. So for me, when I am doing a 11-ounce mug, which is what this one is, and I am not customizing this, this is the image I've created. I could mass produce these, cellophane these up, and they're ready to go. My 11-ounce coffee mugs are $12. That's what my market can bear. So that's what I charge for my 11 ounces. When it is a 15-ounce, which is what this is, and it's customized with a name, I don't sell a customized 15-ounce mug for anything less than $18. That's what my market can bear. So I'm not telling you to go and charge 12 and 18. I'm not telling you, hey, if it's a standard image versus custom, you charge different. I can only tell you what I charge and what my business can handle. And the one thing that I would say is this: you want to figure out what your market can bear, and then that's what you want to sell your product for. You don't want to go out into the craft groups and ask people what they charge, because what if somebody turned around and said, oh, for a customized 15-ounce mug, I charge $7. And then you gonna run and charge $7, so now you losing money. You ain't really made no money, and the time it took for you to make it, it's like you gave it away for free. So unless you are donating this stuff to a nonprofit and taking the tax write-off, which I guess is another way of having some coins, do your research and figure out what your market can bear. But don't base that on other crafters, because 9 times out of 10, other crafters are underselling themselves, and they're lowballing their talent, and they're lowballing their time. And that's what we're not doing over here. Because what? Crafting is fun, but it's a whole lot better when we're making some coins. So I hope this video inspires you to make some ceramic coffee mugs for that special guy in your life in time for Father's Day. These make great birthday gifts. These make great teacher gifts. Listen, let your creativity run wild. What I did do was pin both of these images in the comment section in case you want to head over to Creative Fabrica and download the image and make something amazing yourself. I hope you enjoyed it. I hope you find it helpful. And if you're gonna try the project, drop me a coffee mug down in the comments so that I know that I am not alone. And if you didn't see the really cute summer tote bag that I made earlier this week in that video, I'm gonna have it linked somewhere. YouTube be messing me up. It's gonna be linked somewhere. Hope you click on that link and enjoy that one as well. Until next time, bye everybody.